The other matchup that I look at isn't as flashy as some people might like it to be. But if you got Nick Bosa on your defensive line or rushing the passer, what side of the defense are you going to put him on? Are you going to put him on the left side or are you going to put him on the right side? Are you going to match him up against Lane Johnson or are you going to match him up against Jordan Mailata? Now, I don't say that to follow suit with what a lot of people have been doing, and rightfully so, in terms of all praise all the time for Jordan Mailata. I love the guy, easy to root for. I'm amazed by his success already and what the Eagles see in him. Not just being a seventh-round pick, not just getting $64 million, but beating out a first-round pick who's been playing football his whole damn life. But Jordan Mailata is going to be facing Nick Bosa a lot in this game. And this will be a huge test for Jordan Mailata. I think he can handle him. I think ultimately he's going to look pretty damn good. But as we discussed a couple of weeks ago with Hugh Lamont Douglas III, for instance, what did Hugh tell us? When you get a sack in a football game, you had yourself a pretty good game. If you get 2 sacks in a football game, damn, you were all over it today, man. 2 sacks. If you get 3 sacks in a football game, oh my goodness, prepare for the Hall of Fame, right? Well, that means you can get beat 3 times out of 70 snaps. 3 times. You can beat the offensive lineman, and you had yourself a great day. I'm not saying Jordan Mailata is going to give up 3 sacks, but I'm just trying to keep that in mind as to who he's going up against this particular week in Nick Bosa, who's a pretty damn good football player. This will be the test a lot of us have been waiting for. This is the test that a lot of us want to see a Jordan Mailata pass with flying colors, just to cement all the hype, all the excitement that has surrounded this young man to this point. This will be the biggest test. Now, the fact that he's at Lincoln Financial Field is a huge help here. Huge help. Because he doesn't have to worry about competing crowd noise being out there in San Francisco at Levi Stadium. He could be right, or Santa Clara, technically, 45 minutes south of the city. Weird. But anyway, that's what you're going to be looking for in this game. That's the second matchup I'm going to be looking for in this game. The third matchup I'm going to be looking at in this game is not as specific, but it's definitely one that's going to be very, very relevant in this game. It comes to the offense and defensive line as a whole. When I look at their defensive line, I look at a defensive line that couldn't literally do much to stop the run in week 1. I look at this Eagles offensive line in total, and it comes to the run game in particular. I already told you about pass game, Nick Bosa versus Jordan Mailata, but as far as the run game goes, this is where I think the Eagles can make up a lot of ground here. So it's going to be one of those cases where I'm hoping we're not yelling at the TV for the first time in a long time, and I'm hoping you're not yelling at Lincoln Financial Field for the first time in a long time about running the football, abandoning the run, right? I hope they're not in a situation where they're doing that, because I feel like that run game can really work. And if you abandon it early, that could mean a lot of problems later in the game for a pass-happy head coach, if that's what, in fact, Nick Sirianni turns out to be. I think the run game is going to be the star of the show. And even if it's not the run game, I think you're going to be looking at misdirection. I think you're going to be looking at a lot of play action. I think you're going to be looking at a lot of screens. I think you're going to be looking at a lot of those things similar to what you saw last week. Now, last week he came out with 3 bubble screens to Quez Watkins to start things off. I don't necessarily think you're going to see that again, but I think you're going to need a lot of those types of plays around the line of scrimmage to set up the deep ball that we didn't see in week 1. But I think you're also going to need that to make sure that nobody's getting after Jalen Hurts, because D'Amico Ryans, the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, I think will be a little bit more aggressive than what we saw last week. And that's surprising to say, because Dean Pease, I didn't feel the guy that we were talking about going into this game as a blitz-happy, aggressive defensive coordinator was really that guy. Going into the coming out of that game against the Falcons. But this game in particular against San Francisco 49ers, I think you're going to see a lot of what we anticipated in week 1. I think you're actually going to see it come to fruition in week 2. And just in terms of the pressure that's going to be on Jalen Hurts and the offense in this game. So I would love for them not to just rely on the screen game or rely on those bubble screens or whatever. I'd like for them to actually take a football and hand it to a running back, and then have that running back run the football. And I think you can do that in this game. They didn't abandon the run in week 1 at all. But the other thing you have to factor in is how they controlled the game. And then it always dictates the types of plays that you'll call. It can, and it did, obviously, in week 1. But I think if you actually physically run the football with a running back, I think you're going to have a lot of success in this game against San Francisco 49ers. One of the other things I'm going to be looking at is the overall secondary play and how they handle the 2-quarterback system with Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, because both of those guys can make plays not only with their legs, but obviously with their arms as well.